Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our interview with Julie here. Julie is in the UK. So thank you for joining us all the way from the other side of the world. Obviously, I'm in Newcastle and she's in the UK. So if you are watching this, press hashtag replay. Would love to know where you're watching from even. So Julie is a beautiful faith-led woman as well in the online space, and we do this online opportunity together. And I just felt so cool. I went to one of our Freedom Days in Sydney, and I happened to listen to the beautiful Julie, and she talked about some wisdom and golden nuggets about showing up. Even when it's tough in business and when life goes on and things are really difficult. And I just really resonated with that. And knowing that she was also a faith-led woman like me, I was very much more attracted as well because want to, as faith-led women, we want to be around people that have the same values and beliefs as us, right? So, got a few questions for Julie, but I'll let you introduce yourself and anything that you want to add. And yeah, welcome.
Beautiful. Well, I'll probably add some of my extra stuff through the questions, but it's really lovely to be asked. I love connecting with people all over the world. I think it's the most exciting thing that this technology gives us, that we get to connect and communicate and grow, like you say, communities of people we wouldn't have ever had access to. So that really excites me, and I love the fact you reached out to me and I in some way had impacted you because I happened to be in Sydney. So a little bit about me for anyone watching this. And again, we always love hashtag replay. I always want to know who's watching. But I live in the UK. I have two boys, 26 and 23. I've been a solo parent for 20 years. And I've had yeah, it's been an extraordinary journey. I know some of the questions you're going to ask me today. I've not always been in my faith. I lost my mum to cancer when I was 20 years old. And prior to that, I was, a born again Christian and had this, what I felt was quite a normal family life. And then everything changed after my mum died and my faith took a battering. And then, then God called me. So I'll come on to a little bit more about that. But so yeah, that's a little brief bit about me, but I'm sure the rest of me will come out in the questions you asked me, Tash.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm so sorry that you have lost your mom. Again, there's like big love and um yeah, feels. So a little bit about yourself before the business. Can you paint a picture of what your life looked like before you said yes to this opportunity? Did you really feel like God was calling into it? Did you pray for something like desiring and coming into, this opportunity that could change your life? And yeah, where were you at and how did that come about?
Yeah, so God definitely intervened 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, I was losing my house. Literally couldn't feed my children, couldn't feed myself. I was like a skeleton, and I was done. Like I was done. I was working in pensions in a more corporate environment, and I had like dropped the kids to school, then rushed to a job that I didn't like, but it was geographically bound. You're geographically bound with kids, right? And I had a few hours every day I could work before picking them back up from school. So there wasn't this huge ladder to climb to make great money, and we were sinking fast, like real fast, like it was a terrible situation. And so actually I wasn't in my faith at that point because life was really tough and I'd gotten really angry at God, obviously after my mum had died of cancer and then everything that turned out with my marriage. And so I was just winging life badly. And but in that moment, this one particular day, I'd had enough in this job and we were going to lose the house. Like we had about 3 months, that's what I was given. And so what happened was I literally walked out of the job. And I said to my friends at the time, I said, I'm going to have Chris because they wouldn't give me Christmas off. And I was like, I've got two kids. Like, I need Christmas off. We're already losing the house. Like, I'm having Christmas with my kids. So I was just like, do you know what? I'm going to have Christmas with my kids. I'm already going to lose my house. Like, that's the perception I had. And in the new year, I'm going to change my life. And it was like me having an ounce of faith that there was a possibility that life could change for me. So I wasn't really praying to God at this point, but it was like I acted in a way of faith. if that makes sense. Like I believed that if I did this, then I was going to change my life. And so, and at this point, I didn't know what I was going to do. So everyone thought I'd fallen out a tree and hit my head. Like it was just like, but it was like my kids were too important to me. So it was just like,
Yeah.
do you know what? They are the priority here. This is what's going to go down. What happened was I had they had to give me all my holiday. They wouldn't give me all year, and they wouldn't give me for Christmas. And so I didn't have to work many days, and then I was allowed to go with my holiday. And the very next day, so I finished on a Tuesday, I remember it vividly. And on the Wednesday, my friend phoned me up who didn't work and she said, do you want to go up the mall? And I was like, well, I got no money. And she was like, okay, well, I'll shout you a coffee, meet them out. And I bumped into a girl at the mall that I hadn't seen for years. This is where I know there was divine intervention.
Oh,
And
wow.
I bumped into a girl. I literally chased her out the shop. It was like one of those accessory shops with loads of stands at Christmas with earrings and all. So I was like trying to like knock everything down. And I see this friend I haven't seen for years, and track her down. I was like, Emma, Emma. And I get chatting to her and she's like, what's going on? And when she knew me, my life was like, we had the big house, we had like, all the things. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, things didn't work out and like, life is really bad. And really told her. And she had just started a low ticket network marketing company. And so I ended up hooking up with her and I felt so disappointed it was network marketing. I thought she was offering me a job. And anyhow, I knew it was divine intervention. Like that, it was like the next day. It was just like God put her in my path. And so my life as an entrepreneur was born in that new year. Doing a low ticket network marketing. And by my month one, I sold nothing. Month two, barely scratched a couple of sales. Month three, I had trebled what I earn in that other job.
Yeah,
And I
wow.
kept,
Wow.
yeah, it's a goosebump moment. So sorry, it's a bit of a long story for those
No.
following, but it was, and I remain that was divine intervention. Like it was. Now, my journey of entrepreneurship was quite long because I assumed that that was then the calling, right? Like I was just like, that was it. So I was committed. It felt divine intervention. So I was making that work. And I did for several years. And then what happened was probably the year of 2019. So I'd been in my business 10 years, um, or coming up 10 years, but I was just not earning enough. Like it was just like in that low ticket, lots of different things had changed on everything had gone more like starting to go more online. There were just lots of things. And then like 20, and I knew in my heart at the annual conference, for anyone watching this has done low ticket network marketing. I was top 2%, made it my full-time gig, was stay at home mum, say stay at home mum, I was a hardworking single mum. But like I was able to take the kids to school, pick them up and be at all the plays and all the school holidays, because it's a nightmare. So but I wasn't financially free. Like I was still struggling, if that made sense. Like I was still top 2%, but I wasn't making a freedom income. Like I was getting by still. And the goal I had felt in that time was that I would have this more freedom lifestyle and be way more abundant. And like, yeah, it wasn't really, we were getting by. So I was starting to struggle in it and I was searching. But by this point, definitely, me and God had made friends again. Like, definitely, we were in a thing, and that might come up in another question of like how that happened. But I don't think I was specifically praying because I still believed because of the divine intervention, this was the way. So,
Yeah.
this is really about listening. Like, this comes into in our faith, like, are we really listening or are we going, oh, well, that was because it was divine intervention 10 years ago. It's still like where I'm meant to be. Because actually, sometimes we need to listen more in our faith, right? To our path.
Yeah.
So things were feeling uncomfortable. And I knew that around 2019 at an annual conference with the company, something icky was inside of me. Something didn't sit right with me and I was ignoring it. And and then for anyone who does network marketing, early 2020, then I had like a bunch of people in my team were like, we're not doing this anymore. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's like getting harder and harder and harder. And again, it was like God probably really sort of playing into that. And so I really decided during those first years of COVID to like upskill. I was like, right, I'll learn digital marketing. I'll find a new approach for my business. And that's when I found the company that you and I are attached to now
Yeah.
through that process. But to do the digital marketing course that I wanted to do, I didn't have the money. And so I said to the person at the time who ran the course, I was just like, I'm not gonna make a decision today. I'm gonna go pray. And if the money is available or I can find the money for this course, then I know I'm meant to do the course.
Amen. Wow. I
So
love
he was like,
that.
Yeah, I was just like, I was so up, like with like my borrower. It was just like I just was like, give me 24 hours. I'm gonna go pray, and if it becomes available, then I'm in. I'll see that as the thing. So it did become available, and I did go on to do the course, and I did end up then meeting somebody that was doing the business that we're doing. And honestly, the second, like probably like you, and I'm sure we'll talk about community in a second, it was that calling. It was like, I can't unsee this,
Yeah.
and this is the next path for me. And it did feel incredibly aligned. But I hadn't been praying per se, but it was like when things started getting niggly, when things were uncomfortable, I guess we're then asking for answers. I just didn't think at the time it meant I was going to build a new business, but that's what God had in store for me. And that was how I ended up being in this particular business 4 years ago, started 4 years ago, which was very brave to cut one income stream off. That took a lot of faith, because I wasn't given the option of staying where I was, which I hoped I could, and build this. So I had to completely do what I'd done 15 like before, and cut it off and go, okay, by the grace of God, this business needs to work.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
there
that's
was
so
huge
fierce.
faith. It was my only income.
Yeah,
So I don't
right.
have a partner, no other income coming in. And so my faith, I know I don't do things in my own strength. So my faith in this and in what I was doing was like God led. And it was like, okay, fine, like let's just figure this out. And so that's how I'm here now.
That
So
is so
yeah, I was in
fierce.
pensions. Yeah, but I've had all the hats. I left school just for brief intro. When I left school, I trained as a florist and very creative. And in my life, I've also trained as a photographer.
Yeah, wow. Julie,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing. That's fierce. That's so fierce. So much to
Thanks.
learn. And so I love that like that is how strong your faith is. It was like, yeah, God's like, okay, I'm obedient. I'm going with this. Like I'm totally putting everything on the line. And I love that you even was like, I'm going to pray. Like that strategy, like that's massive for me. I go and pray, I go and communicate with God because I'm like, you'll tell me whether I should or shouldn't be doing this. Like, is this
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
And it was allowing, I think we're not always like that in our faith, is to really allow to let go of something,
yes.
because that's where God had wanted me, right? That journey, that was for me. And I learned a lot. Like I learned a lot in that journey, but it was okay to move away from that. Like it didn't have to be the solution for the rest of my life. It's a
Yeah.
big lesson.
And I think, yeah, and God, and I think it's, I have to keep reminding myself when I have those moments of when fear comes in, I'm like, am I good enough to do this? But I know He qualifies me. Like He qualifies me.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
qualifies us to do these things, right? I think you kind of answered a little bit of like the turning point, the changes and the impact. Um, can I ask you your proudest moment, looking back or looking through your breakthroughs and this business opportunity and how it's grown your faith and your life as a solo mom? Like what are some of your proudest moments or, you know,
Oh, I just feel emotional even being asked that.
oh,
Oh gosh, felt really emotional. Wow. Thanks, Tash. I recently
I have to
have
admit,
been
I
on.
think the first one, sorry, I have to admit, I definitely believe that just having faith and going all in from ground zero, like that's fierce. That's
I yeah, I feel like recently that on a daily basis now, I actually tell myself for all the small things I do that I'm proud of myself.
yeah,
Because I think that we take for granted extraordinary things that sometimes we do that others don't do. And we just go, oh, well, I just had no choice. But really we always have choice. And we choose to live in faith. Like that's still a choice,
amen.
right? And so actually my proudest part is, and God is still working very much in this, that it's okay to ask for more.
Amen.
It's okay to be abundant, and but also to do that, I have such fear around money. I still do in some way. Like I can't say I've fixed that. or me and God have fixed that. We're still on that journey. But letting go and knowing that that's the proudest thing is knowing that it all figures out. God's got it all mapped out. Let it go, let go, let God, that whole thing. But I've always, because of being in survival mode, had to try and figure everything out because I felt I had to, I was on my own. So really letting go and trusting the bigger picture, trusting it's all been figured out, trusting, especially around money, because I think that's probably one of the biggest blocks for most of us in our lives. Like money does control a lot of our choices. So understanding that God's got me in that has been probably my biggest achievement. So moving from a low ticket network marketing company into what we do now is me saying, I'm worthy to have more. It's
Amen.
where I am worthy. That's like
Yeah.
probably one of the proudest things. And actually just that whole journey of like,
You're a daughter
yeah,
of the king. You are so worthy. You are a princess before you are
yeah,
even in the womb. Like,
yeah.
you
Like
are
I've got like I feel emotional, like I just keep wanting to cry with that because it's that reminder we forget and we get up on the daily and we've got our problems and our troubles and we're like, oh, I'll give it up to God. But actually like living in that is and being on that journey is probably my proudest thing of just listening, understanding and letting go, because we should be always living every moment in like joy and celebration
yeah,
because it's already been fixed, right? It's already been done. Whatever's meant to happen is going to happen, and God's got you. And sometimes in my biggest journeys have been, extraordinary lows, but in those moments, like I have felt his hand, like it just, yeah, just felt his hand. So the proudest moments of myself is probably, yeah, when I've been extraordinarily brave. And I feel like we don't always have to, it doesn't have to be easy. We can feel terrified and feel God like at the same
yeah.
time. So yeah,
And there's
yeah,
so
surviving it
many.
really. Sorry, that's a very loose question answer to your lovely question.
No, I like it. I like that, and I think something, we had a mentorship call with today, and one of the things that was said was love the process, marry the process, and love every part of the development, love every part of learning in the business and impact and all the things, right? So yeah, I feel like I really resonate with your answer. I think it's beautiful. Looking forward, what would probably there's two last questions. Looking forward, what are you most excited about in, being in this opportunity, having, knowing that now being able to look back even that, you prayed to be here. Like
Yeah,
God
yeah.
aligned this for you. So, what are you most looking forward to?
Um, when
Bless.
I was blessed with a course years ago when I was doing my low ticket network marketing company, and her course was you get to the core of why you do anything. And so it's very unchanged because by the end of the course, you stand at the front of the room and you cry your eyes out. And because you know why. And so God has used me in that way because when I chose to do low ticket network marketing, I was looking to make money and I was looking to be a present mum because I'd lost mine.
Yeah.
So the value was I wasn't going to have them and not be with them. Like, so God provided a solution for that. And my children had suffered. Like, you can't avoid some realities. My children have suffered. They suffered a poor version of me for a while, for quite a while. And financially, what that actually did to us. And when I did that course, I remember in my core being that we get to share, we get to share a solution
Right.
for people that can change the children. It's never about us, really and truthfully, because I think, but we get to shift and change. I don't want other children, this is the answer, to have to have suffered the way we suffered.
Amen. Amen. Oh wow. Like breaking generational cycles. Like Julie, that's so
Yeah,
fierce. So,
It just is not, we don't ha I think that's the strongest message God give, we don't have to suffer.
no, we don't.
And just because of money.
Yeah.
And this is what this comes down to, we're too frightened to ask for more. It's somehow humble, especially in a Christian community, to sort of be humble and poor. And that's, not necessarily the case.
But you can give
I,
more when you come
we
from
can give
overflow.
more, and children shouldn't be suffering, and there's just no need for it. And so I feel that that was born in me all those years ago through losing,
Amen.
like through terrible circumstances, but that was the core of being involved in something that I get to share that changes the game for me, so therefore it can change the game for other people. And that by that being a solution that people can choose and change the game for them, it impacts our children, like profoundly impacts their lives. And then that profoundly is the ripple effect in the sense of it profoundly changes theirs. So for me, I have that gift. I have that gift, and it's well, anybody can have that. So it's so much more impactful than anything than I think people realize, because when we can step into our truth, when we can step into who we really are, when we can ask for what we really want, then we can have a vehicle that's uncapped and can make life so much easier. The knock-on effect, everyone around us wins.
Yeah.
Our children, everyone around us wins. And then the more people that choose that and select that and step into that, then the more the world can change and the more good God can use through us.
Yeah, absolutely. And but it also, really just starts with getting real with yourself. Like it's
Mm.
okay, like you say, to want those things because unless you got to that point when you're in your deepest pain, in your deepest
Yeah,
struggle, and go, okay, I need a solution, you found the solution, and now you get to do the same for people that were want like, for people like
yeah,
you that were once in that same position that you were in because we don't need to. And yeah, like you couldn't have said it any better. So this leads to my last question. So thank you for all your golden nuggets that you shared. But this is a really like a it's my favorite question because everyone's piece of advice is so different, but it's always so relevant. So this really goes to it's a bit of a reflective piece of advice. What would you say to yourself that's just starting, sorry, that is sitting on the fence wanting to start, or someone that is sitting on the fence starting, let me just rephrase it. If you could speak
yeah,
to you who was
yeah.
scared, doubtful, unsure to start, sitting on the fence, what would you say to her to encourage her spirit, to her heart, to get her to say, okay, yes, Julie, I'm ready to go. Let's go. What would you say to her? Or someone sitting on the fence right now,
Yeah,
watching,
it's probably
watching this.
but it's probably better that I think about somebody sat on the fence than me, because I've never really sat on the fence long ever. And that's probably my biggest wisdom to anybody is somebody sort of said to me, like, literally, you jumped off the cliff and grew wings. And that's what I did 15 years ago. And so I've learned that that's usually what we have to do. So if it feels uncomfortable, then it's probably good for you. Like, and I mean that in the nicest sense, that if you're pulled, if you're sat on the fence, then you know you've got to jump. Like,
Yes, it's the
because
best thing.
really and truthfully, you're not sat on the fence if it's not for you.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not for you, you didn't even sit on the fence. Like, so if you're sat, think about that logically. You're not sat on the fence because, like, it's not going the other way. You can only jump. So when I am looking at, say, let's say I'm speaking to somebody that's looking to do this, I'm very clear. What we're looking to do is get you to a hell yes or a hell no, because then you're not sat on a fence.
Yes.
Like, it's very clear. So if you're sat on the fence, it's not hell no, is it? So let's be honest now. You're ready to jump off. Jump.
You nailed it. I love that. Thank you so much. Yes. And you know what?
Clarity right there.
Yes, amen. And I love that you were like, probably not the best advice because like I'm the same. I did not sit on
Yeah.
the fence. I was like, oh, I saw this and I was like, oh yeah, no, that's me. Never looked back. So I'm like, yes.
And let me just, I just want to overcome, because it's very easy to say just jump off the thing. So I want to just clarify one thing, if it's okay with you. And I know
Yeah,
we should probably got
absolutely.
to the time, but I didn't have the money to start both of my businesses at all, like none, right? So this, I think you might have picked up on this when I was in the when you saw me speak at Sydney. So it will be challenge. Like this is the thing, people only want to jump off when it's easy.
Mm.
But if you're sat on the fence, you're going to have to jump because, like I say, you wouldn't have got on the fence in the first place. So you got to jump and it will be uncomfortable. So get really comfortable with the uncomfortable,
Yeah.
which will be facing getting an investment. And like when I started, Tash knows the story. I was sponsored by someone in Australia, like different forms, different currencies, different things. She didn't really know how it worked in the UK, and I didn't even have all the money to start my investment in my into my business, and I had to do a lot of jiggery pokery and faith, and then so I was like, oh, like that, and then my stuff got sent to me, and 20% VAT for the UK had not been like I didn't realize it was paid separately, so I had to come up with another 20% of my investment, and I didn't have it. And so what I'm saying is like usually when you jump off the fence or jump off the cliff, like, the fence is not as high, guys. It's not such a fall. But when you jump, like literally, you are going to be tested. It's going to be difficult. So understand that because because I think we all want it comfortable. And a faith journey is never going to be comfortable.
Yes.
So you're going to have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, and it gets figured out. And again, it wasn't like me going like, I was just like, well, we'll figure it out, And so somehow again, I just it's letting go of control and just knowing that the solutions will come, and that is your path.
Yeah.
That's your path.
Boom. Thank you so
My
much, Julie.
my
That's it
pleasure.
is. And it's so true. Like when you walk your faith journey, when you walk your truth and your business and you want to create the life of your visions, it's not just going to be handed for you because nothing good ever comes easy, whether it is your dream job. You still got
Yeah.
to work for something. You still got to go to job, as a teacher. You still got to work to get to there. So amen. I actually couldn't have said anything better. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for all your golden nuggets. And can I just finish on a prayer with you? Is that all right? Can I pray for
Yes.
you?
Yeah, lovely.
Dear Jesus, I just want to thank you, thank you, thank you for this connection with Julie. Thank you for this beautiful community that we can find our way together, and that we can, you know, be in your presence, that we can walk with you and share our what you share with us to this beautiful world. Thank you for the solutions that you have given us, the friendships, the community, and thank you so much for this beautiful interview. May you please bless it. May you please give it a ripple effect for those in the lives that you want it to touch. And thank you for your love. Thank you for your forgiveness. Thank you for the journey that you give us every single day and carrying us through the trials and the tribulations. In your name, amen. Thank you so much. And if you will watch this or something resonated with you, reach out, have a chat with us. We'd love to have a conversation to change the trajectory of your life because that's all it takes is one conversation. And yeah, bye.
Bye, my love.